Do you remember the last time you used drugs?
Yeah.
When was it?
4th of July, 11 years ago. And I remember it was 4 o'clock in the morning, 4th of July, and I had the dry heaves, and I thought, okay, I'm way too old for this.
What's replaced it?
Ice cream and cake.
It's simple. I have a case. It's filled with hundreds of postcards. On the back of each postcard, I've written topics. We pull these cards at random, and then we talk.
All right, I'm going to pull out a card here at
Pull out
random.
a card here at random.
All right, the topic on this one is children.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
Yeah, what
All right,
about them?
What about them?
My daughter starts college next year, and she has 2 cats and a dog, and apparently they didn't get in. So they're staying with me now, so I'm now like a zookeeper when I go home.
So you go home to her pets.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't see her, just the pets.
What are they again?
2 cats and a dog. I don't know what the dog is. It's one that looks like something's always after it. You know, one of those nervous dogs, like somebody's always chasing them or something. I don't know what he is, and I don't know the cat's names.
Are you falling for them, though? Is this going to be difficult?
No, I'm not. You know, plus, cat boxes stink.
They're terrible.
They're horrible.
I don't understand why
you
people
have
like
in your
cats.
home. You have a box of feces.
Yeah.
In your house. You know.
You walk past the box of
Yep,
feces
and you go, I got to clean that, but I don't want to do that right now.
because it's a box of feces.
Yeah, because yes, I don't care how clean you keep the litter box. It still stinks like feces, like cat, you know.
And so this is your daughter, and she's off at college, you
Yeah,
said?
she's going to college.
She's
She
going to
starts
college.
next year. Yeah, she just got in, so
That's
she's going to
great.
be a therapist. Why? Where did she come up with that idea?
Where did she all of a sudden want to have
What
therapy?
happened in her lifetime that she might want to get into psychiatry?
Were you a fun dad?
Yeah, I am, man. I remember what it's like to be that age, you know. And I'll tell you, she was writing a paper about hallucinogens for high school. And actually she had this magazine cover she had made up, and I go, what do you know about psilocybin? She goes, well, I'm studying, I want to write a paper about hallucinogens in the 60s and 70s. And I said, why don't you just ask me? And she goes, oh yeah, right. So I told her all the dangers. I told her some of the fun stuff, but the dangers, like if I went back in time, I wouldn't do any of that stuff again, but
None of it?
maybe smoke pot.
Maybe smoke pot?
Honestly, yeah. If I came down, I never had a bad time on that, and when I got tired of that, I just put that away. It was the hard cocaine and the alcohol.
What about the hallucinogens? How were you on those?
One day I just decided that was enough.
Yeah?
That was it. I mean, I did a lot of it. I was living out in Chicago and living on campus in Northwestern with some friends of mine, so I got
on campus?
Yeah, I think people thought I went to school there. This guy Gary Kroger had a show called the Comic Strip Live. I think he was the host of, and I was going to do the show, and I'd known him. And he goes, "When did you graduate?" I go, "What?" He goes, "When did you graduate?" I go, "From where?" He goes, "Northwestern." I go, "I didn't go to Northwestern." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I wasn't a student there." He goes, "What are you talking about? You lived in a fraternity." I go, "I lived in a fraternity. You were in one of my classes." "Yes, I did audit that class, but I was never enrolled there." He goes, "Get out of town."
Yeah, they just had heat.
Yeah, they had heat, and there's some of the classes I found interesting, so they didn't know. I just walked in.
Do you remember the last time you used drugs?
Yeah.
When was it?
4th of July, 11 years ago. And I knew I was going to quit. And I had gone through a breakup and something else, a job I had, and writing got turned down. It was just one of those weeks I go, that's it. I knew I was going to run amok, and I
Yeah.
ran amok. And I remember it was 4 o'clock in the morning, 4th of July, and I had the dry heaves, and I thought, okay, I'm way too old for this. So, you know, just got into getting off it.
What's replaced it?
Ice cream and cake.
Dude.
Seriously.
Dude. Ice cream.
Yeah.
It's the best stuff on the
It's
planet.
horribly great. And Ben and Jerry's are just pushers. That's all they are.
What's your flavor?
Triple caramel chunk. Triple caramel something. It's got the little candies with caramel inside. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all good.
Yeah.
I can go cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough, fish food. There's many.
It's
We're
so
plugging
good.
them like they need the
right,
help.
Ben and Jerry.
We're cutting you out of this, Ben and Jerry, unless I get a case of free something in the mail. And here's the thing: I was at a meeting one time, and I don't sleep well. I'm insomniac. You know, ever since I quit, I have trouble sleeping. Go figure. And someone said, "Have you tried ice cream?" I go, "Wouldn't the sugar just keep me awake?" And this woman goes, "No, I mean eat the entire half gallon. It spikes your sugar and you go right out. It's not healthy, but it'll help." And it worked a few times, but then I'm not kidding you. So they got to eat 3 Ben and Jerry's to get the same. I go, this is just another addiction.
Right.
Now I've got a $100 a week Ben and Jerry's habit.
That's not a sleep aid. That's type 2 diabetes.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Probably. Like I told my doctor, he goes, "Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that." I go, "I didn't think so, but it worked for, a couple of nights. So
Yeah, and cake is good too.
cake is the best. Red velvet cake with fudge in the middle. There's a bakery in Boston that it's got the buttercream frosting. Under that, there's a layer of fudge, then the red velvet. Unbelievable.
You want to just fuck off this show and go eat cake?
Just go eat fucking. We're right here at the Landmark. They've got great stuff.
That's right. We're at a diner basically. We can
I
go-
know the Landmark has been here forever.
Yeah.
And I know because it was open late. That's the only time I ever ate was late.
That's when everything tastes best.
I had a friend of mine, no lie. This guy was over his house and he was stoned, and he fed him bait fish.
Yeah.
Like he took out of his apartment guy's freezer. He was a fisherman. Bait fish. He goes, "This is the most delicious fish I've ever had." It was a fish you actually used to catch a real fish.
Right. This is the
But he
stuff we
was
put on the hook.
He was so stoned, he just thought it was the most delicious fish he'd ever eaten. So.
Ugh, that sounds so awful.
And I'm sure it was, but enough
Yeah.
butter, and he didn't know he was high. So.
I mean, if there is one good thing, I guess, about being high is bait fish tastes good.
Yeah, like you wouldn't want to be a food critic who's always high because
Right.
you go, this is comparable to bait fish.
But theoretically, if all the money you were spending on drugs, you could just buy cheap, horrible food because it's going to taste fine anyway.
Right. So you're really saving money to be
Or
high.
it's a net even break.
Right. That's a good way to like you need a way to rationalize.
There you go, kids. Do drugs.
I meditate when I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah?
I have a list of things I run through my head that I'm happy about and things that I wish would happen and this positive energy.
What are you actually doing? Are you saying it out loud or are you just
Thinking it.
Yeah.
Just thinking it. I've been doing it for years. It just the exercise keeps you, level. Because there's some nights when you just go, man, I miss tequila. There's a few nights I go, ooh, that looks so, especially in Mexico.
What do you do when that urge hits you and you're in Mexico and there's tequila everywhere?
My friend Jack gave me the best advice. He said, anytime you feel like drinking or doing drugs, play the rest of that film. Because the beginning is always good, but the ending is going to be rotten. And I go, and you go, yeah, that's right. It's going to be the same tomorrow morning as it was 11 years ago. I'll still have the dry heaves and I'll still be hungover and I'll be out hundreds of dollars. Getting off drugs is a hard thing.
Sure.
And weird stuff goes on in your brain that you didn't know was there before. And when you don't sleep, there's nothing to do. And so you end up eating lots of Ben & Jerry's or going, well, I'll just have a sandwich. No, I'm not. It's like when I used to smoke. I'd be in a hotel room smoking and go, well, now I'm doing something. I'm not just sitting here.
What's causing this no sleep?
I don't know. I've been to doctors and it's just anxiety. Who knows?
Have you tried melatonin or anything
Oh,
like
yeah,
that?
I've tried all that stuff. Yeah. Xanax I take on occasion now. I don't like that. I'm very cautious around pills because I never had a problem with those. So I'm figuring, that's the punch that'll knock you out, the one you don't see coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've already proven yourself you've an addictive personality,
Oh,
so why fuck with them?
$100 a week Ben & Jerry's, what does that tell you?
Yeah, but you're using that time to at least write and to be productive.
Sometimes you can, and sometimes I do, but after like a couple days, you really can't function. You could think funny thoughts, but even taking a pen is like almost impossible. It's like being really high, but you're tired of it after a while.
All right, this card is time. So, are you a rather punctual person?
I am compulsively early for the most part.
Yeah?
Yeah, I always was. Even when I was actively drinking, I was always on time. I never liked people. You know what it is? I don't like waiting.
Yeah.
I think it's rude. I have a dear friend, who was always like a half hour later go, you know what, man? Don't come. If you say 6 o'clock, I'll give you the 5 after. And then after that, you should be dead on the highway. That's the only excuse I'll accept. You should be headless sitting on a pike somewhere. That's the only excuse I accept. Because, I left him plenty of time. No, you didn't. If you did, there was traffic. There's always traffic. Ergo, you allow for that. I mean, I'd rather wait for a half hour for someone than have them waiting for me. I get places really early.
I'm the same way. I would rather just sit someplace. I mean, look, you got a phone. You can sit there and do a crossword puzzle or something.
People think I'm crazy because I'm at the airport sometimes 2 hours early. You don't have to get there early. Go, look, now I'm here. I can sit in the hotel room for another hour.
Right.
Or I'm here. I can have breakfast and I can work. I can go online.
Either way, you're sitting somewhere.
Yeah, right. So what's the difference? This way, I feel like I'm on my way home.
Right, and if nothing else, you can watch tourists walk back and forth with their big bags.
And big stomachs.
You know what? That's something that just struck me when we just got back from this trip from I was in Croatia, Slovenia, and Hungary, and Amsterdam. And I came back and said, wow, Americans are much bigger than everybody else.
We really are, and not in a healthy way, a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's an epidemic, and we don't really recognize it.
And we dress really shitty, too. And I'm not saying I'm not a part of that.
Right, I know.
I'm wearing a hoodie today.
I threw this together.
But I was like, I found that people in Europe are effortlessly stylish. Like
Right.
they're not trying to be stylish, but they kind of are.
You know what it is? Compared to them, we're like teenagers.
Do you travel? I mean, besides when you're on the cruise ships, do you travel?
You know what? I would be happy to never go to an airport ever again.